everybody? It's DJ NV, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. Teslin Figaro, good morning.
Good morning, Breakfast Club family. Charlamagne and DJ Envy.
How was your weekend?
Pretty good. Shout out to, y'all were mentioning, Charlamagne mentioned cheer. So I want to give a shout out to Cameron, my daughter's cheer coach. She made the FAMU cheerleading squad.
Oh, wow.
So I'm very excited about that.
Drop a bomb for that.
Yep.
That's dope. That's dope. Well, let's get into some front page news. Now, NBA 76ers beat the Nets 121-101. Celtics beat the Hawks. My Knicks beat the Cavaliers. The Kings beat the Warriors. Lakers beat the Grizzlies. The Heat beat the Bucks. And the Clippers beat the Suns.
It's crazy how they your Knicks now, but when Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving was on the Nets, it sure was your Nets. You sure was at them Brooklyn Nets games.
It was always Knicks. I was always at the Knicks game. What are you talking about?
You was at those Nets games, too.
I haven't been to the Nets game. I have never seen Kevin Durant play in person.
It is amazing.
That's not. I've been to the Knicks game.
I don't know what's a bigger lie.
I don't know what's a bigger lie. I took my daughter's boyfriend to the
beard?
Cleveland Cavaliers fan.
No, he took you.
No,
he took you. You was his date. I don't know what's a bigger lie, your beard or the tale you tell about being a Knicks fan.
I'm always a Knicks fan.
Okay.
Well, sure. Taz, what else we talking about? Where you want to start?
Yeah, we'll start with the NRA. Again, like you guys mentioned, so much gun violence this weekend happening more and more. But first, I want to send some love, healing energy, and demand justice for 16-year-old Ralph Yarl in Kansas City. Many of you probably saw this on social media. He was the kid that was going to pick up his two younger siblings from an unfamiliar address. He was shot in the head and then shot again when he was on the ground by a white man who answered the door when he rang the wrong doorbell. Now, as of this morning, the homeowner has not been identified. Hopefully, we'll get some more information on that throughout the day. But as right now, he has not been identified. He was taken into custody and placed under a 24-hour hold, and then he was released pending further investigation.
I'm so confused why he wasn't arrested.
Yeah. Well, they said that in order to get more information from the victim, in order to get more forensic data, they cannot hold him. And so folks are out protesting and demanding that, he be arrested, which as he should. And I would like to know the identity of the man as well.
Yeah, because the reality is it's innocent until proven guilty. But clearly, some type of crime was committed, right? Because that's not staying your ground. You can't shoot somebody through the door.
But what you mean identity?
His name, wanting to know, like who he is, and it would be if it was us. If it was us, they would definitely know names, pictures, mugshot, everywhere.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and reveal who that is, so that the internet can do their own digging on his background. They do a better job than First 48.
And he shot him. He shot him twice, right?
Yes.
Yep. Shot him once, and then when he was on the ground, shot him again.
Yeah, that's definitely not staying your ground.
Well, he's probably going to say stand your ground because it was at his house. He knocked on the door.
But doesn't the person I thought the person had to break into your house or something, or be some type of threat?
Well, it depends what person, the white person or the black person.
That is very true.
That's true.
That is true. That is true.
So really, it really just depends. So we're going to see, because remember Trayvon Martin wasn't a threat either. So again. It just all depends on what justice system that we're looking at. But while more gun violence was happening in America this weekend, including 4 dead and 28 injured, we're going to talk a little bit more about that in the next hour. But Republicans and the current potential 2024 presidential candidates doubled down on gun politics this weekend at the National Rifle Association meeting, rejecting the idea that more gun restrictions would curb bloodshed. They cited scripture, issued prayers, they applauded law enforcement and demanded tighter security in schools. Donald Trump insisted that this is not a gun problem. The only way to stop these wicked acts is to ensure that any sicko who would shoot up a school knows that within seconds, not minutes, they would face certain death. He also nodded the party's focus on crime, saying that the issue is not too many guns, but too many thugs, hoodlums, and savage criminals on our street. Now, at the same time, Trump said he would investigate whether hormone treatments and genetically engineered cannabis leads to violence. Meanwhile, at the same time, Vice President Harris spoke about gun violence at the National Action Network convention. Take a listen to what Trump said at the NRA and what Vice President Harris said at the National Action Network convention, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
Upon my inauguration, I will direct the FDA to convene, and it's going to happen quickly, to convene an independent outside panel to investigate whether transgender hormone treatments and ideology increase the risk of extreme depression, aggression, and even violence. I think most of us already know the answer, don't we? Furthermore, we have to look at whether common psychiatric drugs, as well as genetically engineered cannabis and other narcotics, are causing psychotic breaks.
While the NRA is holding its convention in Indiana. Now, you know what they've called it? They have called it a, quote, freedom-filled weekend. So we must ask, freedom-filled for who exactly? Because it's not for the parents who pray that their children will come home from school safe, from a classroom in Uvalde or Nashville. Not for those who pray that their loved ones will come home safe from a bank in Louisville, Kentucky, from a grocery store in Buffalo, or from everyday gun violence in communities across our nation.
Listen, man, as long as these politicians benefit from NRA money, you won't see any changes, okay? Like I always tell y'all, just look up these senators who benefit from NRA money, and you'll see that the NRA spent a lot of money to benefit, the political campaigns of these senators who directly oppose gun safety legislation. And they will always refuse to support common sense gun reform because the NRA is in their pocket. Simple and plain.
All right. Well, that is front page news. Now, Tez, we'll see you in a little bit.
Absolutely.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Now it's time for some front page news. Good morning, Teslin Figaro.
Good morning, DJ Envy, Charlamagne, and the Breakfast Club family.
Yo.
Yeah, let's start off with some sports real fast. The 76ers beat the Nets. The Celtics beat the Hawks. My Knicks beat the Cavaliers. The Kings beat the Warriors. Lakers beat the Grizzlies. The Heat beat the Bucks. Clippers beat the Suns. Now, I don't know if you've seen John Morant got hurt. I don't know how bad his injury is. He was actually trying to dunk on somebody and landed on his wrist. So
a bunch of people got hurt yesterday. John Morant got hurt yesterday. Giannis got hurt yesterday.
The Greek Freak got hurt.
Tyler Hero got hurt yesterday. He had a broke hand.
Yeah. So we'll see how that plays out in these playoffs.
I think the Lakers going to win that series.
Yeah, I think so, too.
I thought they was going to win the series even with Ja in there. But I think they definitely going to win the series if Ja's out there.
Nah, they look good. All right, what else we got, Taz? Where you want to start?
Well, we will start once again covering a mass shooting. Now, while the NRA convention was going on this weekend, we talked about that last hour, guys. So make sure you go back and hit the rewind and listen to the NRA convention story. But while that was going on, 4 people were killed and 28 were injured, including a high school football player this weekend at a Sweet 16 birthday party in Dadeville, Alabama. Now, authorities say that the shooting started around 10:30 on Saturday, but declined to answer any questions or provide any details on who the suspect is. Now, Biden has called the rising gun violence in the U.S. outrageous and unacceptable, which we've heard him say that many times before. He also urged Congress to pass laws. We heard him say that before as well, to try to do something to curb the violence. Now, this brings the total mass shooting now 163 so far in 2023. And like we mentioned again last hour, 16-year-old Ralph Yarl, who was also shot and injured in Kansas City when he went to the wrong door. So this is just back to back. And it's just to the point, guys, that now we're even trying to figure out, like, how do we prioritize what story to cover? Because they just seem to all be mass shootings, back to back. And trying to get that information out there to the folks has been a challenge.
Yeah, and just like politicians, what can we say that hasn't already been said? All right, nothing is going to change. Mass shootings, gun violence is the American way. And as long as these politicians benefit from NRA money, nothing is going to change.
Yeah, and this one's a sad one because this town seen a mass shooting, I think, like 6-7 years ago in that same town. But what's really bothering me is it seems like they don't really have any leads. Like, they haven't said a description. They haven't said why. The only thing that they said was they believe somebody attended the party with some firearms. They told them to leave, and all of a sudden it was this shooting. So it just seems like they don't have much information, and they're begging the people out there, if you heard anything, if you've seen anything, please report to the police.
That's the one in Alabama, right?
That's the one in Alabama,
okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And just the anxiety with it alone. I'm planning my daughter's Sweet 16 party in June. And just reading this, I was like, wow, like even at the Sweet 16 party, I know you guys probably feel the same way being parents. It's just this constant anxiety. that's just back to back to back. My niece a couple of weeks ago at OU, she was on campus when they had that gun scare. There was a shooting. I didn't get a chance to cover it because we were covering other mass shootings. But it's just the constant, worrying about your children and worrying about if they're going to make it home, and it's just ridiculous.
I feel like that anytime I'm somewhere where it's a large group of people, like even being at my daughter's, cheerleading tournament yesterday. Like it was one police officer there. He had like a Glock on him, but I'm sitting there thinking, damn, what if somebody comes in here with one of those weapons of mass destruction? What is that one officer going to do? But then I start thinking to myself, well, who else in here is carrying, just in case, and would be willing to start firing if something went off like that? My mind shouldn't even be on that, but it is.
Right.
And Tez, I want to tell you with your daughter too. I don't know if this is even an option because I was nervous about it. I gave my daughter a choice to say that she could go somewhere that she wants to go, like a vacation to create a memory, or a Sweet 16, and my daughter decided she'd rather create that memory. So that saved me so much because I didn't want to do a Sweet 16 either. Like you said, having all these kids from different high schools that you really don't know was kind of like, it was giving me anxiety as well.
Yeah, but then I shouldn't have to be, robbed of that. You know what I'm saying? Like I really want her to have the Sweet 16, the daddy-daughter dance, the whole little. Now there are people that we're doing a private formal party, but still, just the fact that I even have to think about that, you know what I'm saying? That just, it's ridiculous. And my sister, who's a teacher, she's like a sister to me. She's actually my best friend. Every day that she goes to the classroom, she has to figure out an exit plan. What happens? Do I run here? Do I go there? I mean, they can't even focus on teaching because of this mass shooting stuff. The anxiety is extra high.
You got to factor in mass shootings like you factor in what the weather's going to be.
That's right.
Straight up. Like mass shootings is always could potentially be part of the forecast.
Crazy.
All right. Well, thank you, Tez. I know we had a lot to get to, but we'll see you tomorrow.
And listen, make sure you subscribe to the Straight Shot No Chaser podcast on the Black Effect iHeartRadio podcast network, hosted by Teslin Figaro. And Teslin will be with us this Saturday in Atlanta at Pullman Yards for the first ever Black Effect podcast festival. As of Friday, we only had 200 tickets left, so we might be sold out. I'm not sure. But just in case we're not, go to eventbrite.com or blackeffect.com for more information and snatch up those last little bit of tickets, and we'll see you on Saturday in Atlanta at Pullman Yards at the first ever Black Effect Podcast Festival.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, thank you, Tez, again, and we'll see you tomorrow. And guys, don't move. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up early in the morning. The Breakfast Club.